Hello, my friends, my family, relatives, my Facebook friends, and my brothers and sisters in Christ. When I got to thinking of all the things that did happen, I thought, I do have an unusual life. Maybe I should write about it. I've written part of my life story from the time I was maybe 3, from what I could remember, until 1985. My book title is called Heaps of Faith, and I was thinking one day about my life story and how God blessed me throughout all my years and how He protected me and He gave me the strength to carry on with the difficulties that happened in my life, and just kind of pondering about my life. And when I got to thinking of all the things that did happen, I thought maybe I should write about it. So that's how I came to want to write my autobiography up to a certain age. I'd like to start out by saying that my mom and my dad are both born in Sicily. My mother was 33 years old when she married my dad. I don't think she ever met him except through letters. He was living in Detroit at the time, and her goal was to live in America and had a desire to come to the States. So she and my dad, through letters, they married, and then she moved to Detroit, and within 7 years she had 5 children. I have 3 brothers that are older than myself, and I have a younger brother. Our life was pretty dysfunctional as a family. Over the years, the problems kept getting worse and worse. I started out at age 3, where I can recall being huddled in a corner. We're arguing, and I didn't know at that time, but they were arguing about my health. I was sick, and my dad wouldn't take me to the doctor. And I won't go into too many details because it's in the book. It tells about my life story from that point on, and the illnesses that I've had in my life. I've had many surgeries. I've had tuberculosis, where I was hospitalized or in a sanitarium for 7 months until I became well from that. And I've had hepatitis. Having experienced illness in my life has made me a strong person, and to believe in God and to trust in Him and to know that He would take care of me. And at one time, at the age of 15, I had Bright's disease, which is in the kidney, and you either die from it or you can become blind. And the Lord healed me from that disease, and that was when I turned my life over to the Lord. From that moment on, He has been with me, and from that moment on, it seems like I was going downhill fast. But everything I experienced is in the book and made me stronger, and it makes me realize how strong my mother was to make the change that she did to come to the States. And I thank God for being strong. When I gave my life to the Lord, I wanted to be used by Him, and that has been my prayer for my whole entire life, that God would use me. And I can see now that in order for Him to use me, I had to be down in the valley and experience what life was about so that He could use me. We came from a poor family, and it was all hand-me-downs, and my brothers had to quit school at the age of 16 to help support the family. And my book talks about the poverty that we had, and here again I want to thank God for the poverty we have, because I can empathize now with the world. When I did get baptized, my father was very disappointed, as he was fighting my mother all those years because she had joined the church, which is the Church of Jesus Christ. And in the book, I explain more about that. We are a restoration church, and I believe in it with all my heart. My mother did too. So when I was baptized, my father said, "You are both devil people now," and so he literally asked us to leave, and he threw us out of the house, basically. At the age of 15, I knew what it was like to be poor. I had to go to school, and I worked to help support my mom until we were able to go on welfare. My education, I wished I could have gone on to college, but because of not having the money or the dysfunctional family that we came from, we didn't have that choice to either go to college or to further our education. My story is about my life, and with all that had happened, I could have been very negative. I could have felt like a victim. I could have been a street person, so to speak of, but because of the love of God, and He was strengthening me and He was going to use me, I turned it all into a positive, and I was blessed in my life through the trials I went through. And I say that because at the age of 53, the Lord did finally answer my prayer after my children were grown and married. He used me. He used me in the medical field, where He sent me to Africa and Nigeria, where there was a need there. The Lord used me to go there and to help others in opening up a clinic for the poor people. That was my first project that He led me into. Then I went to Guatemala, and I thought I would still work with the medical needs there in Guatemala, but then I decided, after seeing what I saw, the girls in the streets at a young age, there being prostitutes there from the age of maybe even 8, 9, or 10. I wasn't worried, though. I knew that the Lord would be with me if this is what He wanted me to do. And I met up with Karen. Karen was a counselor for the street kids, and she took me out on the streets with her one day. She took me to the most dangerous part of the capital of Guatemala City, under this bridge where a lot of the boys were living, and then there were the young girls who were prostitutes. As Karen brought the young girls up to meet me and to introduce me to them, they had this plastic bag in their hand. I basically remember Marion the most because she was probably 11 or 12, and that was the year that I went to Italy with my mother and to stay there for 1 year. So that was an age that I will never forget, and I think that stood out in my mind. I saw her sniff, like she was sniffing. It was glue is what it was, and I thought, being so naive, I thought it was like a lemonade, and I turned to Karen and I says, "What are they doing? They're not drinking that, are they?" She says, "No, that's glue, and they're sniffing it." I was shocked, and I asked Marion, I says, "That's glue you're sniffing, right?" She goes, "Yes." And I says, "Why do you do it?" She says, "Because it makes me forget that what I'm doing, that I'm a prostitute, that I have to have the money to help my mother support the family, and when I'm hungry and I have hunger pains, all I have to do is sniff the glue and the hunger goes away." So I asked her, I says, "Do you mind if I would try it?" She says, "No, not at all." I took one sniff, and that was all I needed to do, and I handed it back to her. I had to do it. I just wanted her to know that I wasn't putting her down, and I wanted to try it, but I also told her that I was going to be praying for her. My heart went out to her, and I had empathy for her because I lived that life too. And so I decided then that I would open an educational school for the girls that had nothing, and that's how God used me. So my story is all about my life and how I kept strong and how God blessed me. I hope it reaches the readers. If you lived your life as I did, or if you're going through that time, just know that in prayer and having faith and trust in God, He can pull you through anything like He did with me. The end of my story is overwhelming. It took me 8 years to write my book. Different things kind of took me away to writing, and there were a couple of chapters that I had to work through. the year of when I was 15 years old. You'll be interested to see why it took me 3 months to write that chapter, and the year 1975 was a difficult year for me, and that took me several months to get through. My book writing is almost completed. In fact, the writing part is completed. My editor is just editing the final chapter, and I can see now why it took 8 years. I don't think the Lord wanted me to publish it before now, because He was still working in my life, and the ending is a very surprising ending, and I'm not even going to go there. You're going to have to read the book to see why it's an exciting ending for me. My funding is to publish my book so I can help the people out there that don't have any faith and don't believe in the Lord and what He can do and the miracles. I would like to have my book published. And I also want to follow up with a series of Heaps. My last name is Heaps. I married Rusty Heaps. He was the love of my life, and I just wanted to carry his name into the books. The Heaps series are going to be Heaps of Love, Heaps of Charity, Heaps of Danger, Heaps of Humility, and it will all be based on my feelings and how the Lord brought me through all of that. My goal for this video is to reach $2,000. The way this works is that it'll be on for 30 days. If I reach my goal, then I will receive the money, and I can go beyond the goal and receive the money. If I do not reach the $2,000 mark, I get nothing. My goal is to reach $2,000, and if you feel like you'd like to see the book published, I would appreciate, and I thank you for your funding the publishing of the book. And to show my appreciation, I've decided that any donations of $25 and more, I will send you a signed book, and I will have it shipped to your home. I will have a list of all the donors and the amounts they give, and that would be my gift of appreciation, and I would be happy to do that. Thank you for listening to my little speech, and God bless you, and have a good day.